Hello students, I welcome you all on the Drishti learning platform. My name is Himani Sharma and I am your UGC NET Paper-I educator. In this new YouTube video, we are going to see the analysis, we are going to do the analysis of Paper-I of English Literature and that too with Shift 1. Right? So we know that the examination has recently happened, right, for the December 2022 cycle in the year 2023, right? So there were several questions which were, difficult from Paper-I. The questions, the units that I'll be discussing the questions from will be Research Aptitude, ICT, that is Information and Communication Technology, that is related to the computer science, etc. Right? And the third unit that I will be dealing with is Higher Education. Right? So we know that there have been multiple questions, as I'm already telling you, that the questions this time were again a little bit difficult than what was expected in the, question paper for the time being. Right? So let us just see that what questions do we have from these very units and what do we mean, what do we get as the answers and what do the answers mean, right? So the first slide or the first question that I have for you right now, and yes, you all can, while watching the video, you all can try to answer these questions by pausing the screens on like, for 5 seconds or something like that. So question number 1 that we have here is, survey research is one of the key methods in, so as I told you, you all can pause your screens, try to answer the question and then look for the solution. The answer to this question is option C, that is survey research is one of the key methods in sociology, right? Sociology or sociology, how do you want to pronounce it, right? So first of all, what is a survey? We all, if we are, learning something from the research aptitude unit, we all would have come across different methods of, gaining data, acquiring data, right? So if we talk about survey research, survey first of all is something where you are going to ask questions from a particular audience, right? And then you can, make out like what is, are they liking the product? Are they not liking the product? So you conduct a survey, right? So it's a type of research design or method where researchers collect information from a group of people by asking them questions. So if I ask you, like, do you like Cadbury Dairy Milk, right? So asking that very thing, that what brand, or if I am giving you different choices, right? Milky Bar, Kit Kat, etc. So these, let's just assume that these are the 3 options which have been given in the survey, right? So whosoever the multiple, people will be answering these questions, and the maximum number of whichsoever chocolate brand is, the one which has been chosen by the participants, that will be thought of as this is the most popular brand, right, of chocolates amongst, the teenagers or whatever group I'm, targeting, right? The questions are structured, which means that this is something, right? For example, as I gave you this, yes or no, Dairy Milk, Milky Bar and Kit Kat. So I have provided you with options on my own, right? So structured, the questions patterns are already structured and you can just choose from those very options, right? To obtain specific information about the respondents' perspectives, are they liking the product or not? Yes or no? Their opinions, right? What are their opinions for this very thing, right? The chocolates. Knowledge, attitudes, preferences. Do you prefer yoga pants or do you prefer shorts, right? While going to the gym. Behavior on a topic of interest. So whatever topic is going there, that is the one which will be, talked about in the survey research. Survey research can be used to communicate new features or trends or to gather descriptive information. So if I ask the respondents that what brand of chocolate do you like, can you describe me that what is the effect, after effect of eating that chocolate, and why do you eat it, right? Some might answer that I eat it when I'm sad, so it makes me feel a little bit happier, some way or the other, right? So there can be descriptive answers as well to the questions which have been asked in the survey. These are valuable research tools within sociology as well. So survey method, of course, in itself is something which can be used to gather data. But in the field of sociology, where we are learning about society, the patterns, etc., right? Even if we talk about these brands, right? The chocolate brands, right? These things are being circulated in a society, right? So how in a society, what kind, what brand, etc., that can also be, surveys can serve those valuable tools as those valuable tools used by social scientists for a wide variety of research projects. It enables researchers to collect data on a mass scale, right? So the researcher might collect data from 50 people, right? So we all have known that if we are going to gather data from some people, right, that will be our sample, but this data will be applicable on the entire population then, with the same characteristics only, right? Then we have that reveals conclusive results about how the various variables measured interact. If I am saying that my happiness is because, or when I want to feel happy, right, I eat this very thing, right, which makes me feel a little bit comfortable or at ease with myself, right? So how the variables even interacted with each other, right, that is also what can be observed using the survey research. Next question is, methods of social research are directly linked to different versions of what? Pause your screens again. The answer to this question is option A. Social research directly linked to social reality. Now let's just see first of all, what is social research? A study of mankind that helps to identify the relations between social life and social systems. Like how is the social life being conducted? I will be giving you an example, right? Because we have an example written down here as well. So through that example, I'll try to explain you how. It usually creates new knowledge and theories or tests and verifies existing theories. For example, now let's just see if I talk about the Indian dowry system or dowry system in general, right? If we talk about it in the Indian context, the people would have thought from centuries, they have been thinking, right, that dowry is given by the bride's parents to the groom's family, to their in-laws, the girl's in-laws, right? And it is just, sometimes it is thought of as a gift from the bride's family, right? Or this might be thought of as something which they are giving to protect, to take care of their daughter. Now let's just see that how this thing has been something which has been a social evil, right? The social research will try to look and dive deep into the social life and the social systems which have been existing since centuries, right? Even in today's time, in the 21st century as well, if we talk about the 21st century, we all would be seeing that still in some parts of India, maybe in the villages, right, the people are still accepting the dowries, right? Why is that happening? Because of the fact that the phenomena, reference to investigation focused on social phenomena, which is the Indian dowry system, processes and organization. Now, what would have been the organization? Could have been the patriarchy as well, right? Which established this very rule that yes, women should be provided with dowry when they are getting married to a man, right? Discover new facts about social reality or verify old ones. Some can verify through social research that how from the eras this Indian dowry system was something which came in society, right? To analyze their sequence, how frequently has this been happening in India from, multiple times. Their interrelationships. Let's just see the interrelationship of a bride with her in-laws, right? Some of the people who are the in-laws, for example, they treat their, what we say, their daughter-in-law, right? They treat their daughter-in-law nicely because she has brought much dowry as compared to the younger one, right? So here we see that how there is an interrelationship between the amount of dowry that a girl has brought in the family of her in-laws, right? And how it has affected her social, relationship with them. Causal connections. What is the cause and effect, right? This is not casual, this is causal, cause and effect connection, and laws governing them by the means of logical and systematized methods. That how systematically this evil has penetrated deep into the Indian social system, right? It has nothing to do, it would have been nothing, to do with how a girl should be treated in her in-laws family, but yeah, because of how the people are conditioned, that is also something which can be thought of, which can be seen if we talk about the social research, because it will talk about the relation to the different versions of what the social reality. And I gave you an example which can be relatable to you to some extent in the Indian context. Next question that I have for you is, grand theories of social sciences operate at a. The answer to this question is option D. Again, something related to social sciences. Now you see how this time they have brought in the English literature part, they have brought the research which was mostly related in shift 1. The research that they were talking about is social research, right? With context to the English literature as well, right? So let's just see. First of all, what is a grand theory? Social science approach that attempts to define universal truths about the nature of society, right? Instead of studying contemporary or historical examples to learn about one society, let's just see, for example, the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx, right? So he has written this very book. He developed his own theory of Marxism, which in today's time we know as what? We know as Marxism, right? Now, through the usage of or the development of this very theory, Karl Marx has tried to identify two things. Let me just erase it here. He has tried to identify two things, that one is the base, the other is superstructure. And he also tried to talk about the two, the class struggles between the two groups which are there, the proletariats and the bourgeois, right? How there is a constant conflict between that, who is in power and how they are related. So through this very thing, basically the grand theorists are the ones who create their own concepts and theories to define what has happened, to define a society, right? Grand theories attempt to create rules and systems that explain the nature of all societies. So as, for example, we have talked about Karl Marx, he developed the theory of class struggles, he developed the theory of Marxism to tell us that how society has been existing, since eras, and the rules and systems which he created now are the ones which are being used, right, to tell us about what is the class struggle, what is a class struggle in general, and what is a class struggle in the context of Marxism, and how even in the previous times there were, people. For example, let's just see, there used to be kings, right? Then there used to be knights, and there used to be common people. So how there was a relationship between these groups in the, the feudal society, even if we can talk about the feudal society in Europe, how these people, these groups were related to each other, and they were constantly in conflict with one another to reach out to the power, right? The powerful state, etc. Right? So Marx has tried to identify or define a society from the previous times as well, right? By giving us the example of the Communist Manifesto. So he developed a grand theory of Marxism, and in today's time even we use that very theory to talk about the society and the struggles which has happened in the past or which are happening in today's time. Also, the cognitive theory of Jean Piaget is a grand theory because of the fact that how he has defined the 4 stages or 4 periods of cognitive mental development, right? Sensory, motor, pre-operational, concrete, operational, right? And formal operational. So this is something which he also developed, and he tried to talk about that how, if we talk about the cognitive system of human beings, how they work at different levels and how it is developed in every child. So he also developed a grand theory of cognitive, right? Cognitivism, right? So if you want, you can write these things down, right? Then we have the next question. Which of the following are considered major types of qualitative research questions? You can pause your screens and try to answer again. The answer to this question is option D, which is B, C, D, and E. These 4 are the options which are related to what? Which are related to the qualitative research. Now, let me just tell you that if we talk about quantitative research, the name itself suggests that it is talking about some kind of quantity which can be measured. But if on the other hand, we talk about the qualitative research will, or the qualitative method will talk about something on a deeper level, right? And there is no measurement. And because of the fact that we are dealing with qualities, we are asking people questions which are going to ask them to delve deep into something, right? So that is something which is related to qualitative research. And because of that very thing that people are going to talk their hearts out, or they are going to, tell me their opinions, or the researcher their opinions, it will be subjective in nature. But the quantitative one will be objective. Just like the questions you had in your NET examination, you had 4 questions and you had 4 options, and you were supposed to choose between those 4 options only. But if you are, writing the English literature paper in your college or your university examination, you would have seen that how you subjectively write certain answers to show your point of view or your interpretation of a particular phenomena which has been asked in the question, right? So qualitative delves deep, but this is on just the superficial level. So in the question they have asked us about the qualitative research questions. Causes and consequences. For example, what caused David to stay after school? Did he complete his work, or did he complete his homework, what has been given to him or assigned to him, right? So what caused? So there might be certain causes which can be explained in a subjective or a qualitative manner. Did he complete his work? Yes, he completed his work because he was getting late, something or the other, right? Predictive. What is your age? Right? So qualitative question, what is your age? How old are you? Right? Evaluative. Evaluation is being done. How satisfied are you with our product? There has been new pair of shoes which have been launched in the market. How comfortable do you find those very shoes? Right? So how comfortable you find them, and how can you explain why do you like those shoes? Right? Descriptive is, can you explain and how much do you sleep every day? What are the reasons that you wake up early in the morning, right? So different things which deal with the deeper aspects of the questions, those are the questions which are qualitative in nature, and hence we have these 4 options as the correct ones here. The next question is a statement-based question. Statement 1 says, time and cost are not relevant in determining the sample size. Statement 2 says unit non-response and item non-response do not matter in deciding the sampling error. Pause your screens because this is some kind of new question which has been asked in the NET examination. The answer to this question is option B. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are false. Now, first of all, if we look at the first statement, because the second one will be dealing with deeply. First statement is really easy. Time and cost are not relevant in determining the sample size. Why? They are relevant. Time and cost both are relevant when you are determining the sample size. For example, if I tell that I am going to deal with 50 people, this is the sample size, and there is this population of 500 people. So I have drawn this very sample here, right? This is my sample. 50 people is my sample here, right? And now I'm going to see how much, how much paper do I need? If I ask them the survey questions, how many prints do I need? And if I need some kind of, printing material, how much will that printing material cost me? Right? How much of my time will it consume if I start distributing those sheets on my own? Right? Or if I start mailing those things on my own. So time and cost are of course relevant when it comes to choosing the sample size, right? Statement 2, unit non-response and item non-response do not matter in deciding the sampling error. First of all, what is non-response? Let's just see here also with an example. That if we talk about now, let's just take an example of 25 people as my sample and my population was what? 90. 90 people is my population, right? So here let's just see that if this is my population and I am going to choose only 25 persons from that very group, right? With the same characteristics as the population has. Now, if I say that out of those 25 people whom I have chosen, some of them say that yes, I am not going to, they don't tell me directly, but they do not participate that actively in my research, or they are non-responsive. That is where the non-response bias comes into play. Now, just fasten your seat belts because it is a new topic which has been there. It was a topic, but they have never asked in the question. So, you need to know this very topic. Non-response bias, right? If I tell you that, as I told you, 25 people, but only, let's just say 17 people are answering, right? So the rest of them, they are not answering and they have backed off the research. Or let's just see, if I say that I am going to see the manager workload, right? I'm going to see how the people with more workload responds to my surveys, like if I ask them a question, right? The people who have less workload, the managers with the less workload will of course answer all my questions which are available there. But the people who are having more workload at their end, who have much more to do in the office, they will just be, some of them will be skipping questions. Some of them will not even be participating in the research, right? This is where we talk about the non-response. Again, next example, if I give you, if I talk about the effect of running on people, right? And I have chosen a sample of 25 people from the same society or the same colony, right? So some of them answer me. Of course, if there will be people who are active runners, they will answer my questions with full enthusiasm, right? They will participate in the survey and will answer all the questions which are there. But the people who are non-runners, they will be less interested maybe in answering the questions, right? So you see here, even because of the people who are active runners, they are answering the questions, and the non-runners, even if they are answering, They are, tick marking it out of, dislike, right? So they are not participating in the process completely, which will lead to some kind of, discrepancy or some kind of sampling error in my, research. Right? So this is the first of all the definition of non-response bias. Now we have two types of non-response bias. Number one is unit non-response. Right? The other one is item non-response. Now, let me just tell you that if I talk about the unit non-response, if I, of course, chose those 25 people, but suddenly at the time of, answering questions, 4 of them backed out. Out of 25, 4 of them backed out from my research. I'll just be left with the sample size of 21. Right? Now, what am I going to do with that smaller sample size? Because that will again not be, the one which can be applied to the entire population. Because I have chosen the sample size depending on the people in my population. So if there were 90 people, I thought that yes, 25 people would be enough with the same characteristics. 25 people will be enough who will be answering the questions. But out of those 25, 4 of them back off, right? So I'll be, left with a smaller sample. Smaller sample. So here, the unit is non-responsive. The units that I have chosen, they did not respond. They did not even participate in the research entirely or as a whole, right? So they did not even answer the questions. Now, if I talk about item non-response, here, people that I have selected, the sample that I have selected, they are answering the questions, but they are leaving certain questions on their own because they think that that information is maybe not required, or the information that the the researcher has asked is sensitive. So they leave out certain questions. So in item non-response, you leave out particular questions. Here you leave the sampling completely, right? So now you know that here the person is not at all participating. Here, if the person is participating, he or she is leaving certain questions which he or she finds to be sensitive, or they find that they are unnecessary and can be left, right? For example, if someone is asking them that what is your sex, male or female, right? So they are not even answering that very question that yes, even if my name is Rajesh, right? So the person will know that I am a male, right? So they are leaving, even those questions are important from a researcher's point of view, but people leave those very questions which can lead to sampling error. Hence, if we talk about here, unit non-response and item non-response matter. They do matter when we talk about the sampling error which comes with the sampling. Next is the science of studying the feedback systems in humans, animals, and machines is described as. The answer to this question is option D, that is cybernetics. Cybernetics is something which is related to the study of purposive systems. Now, what are purposive systems? Systems with some kind of purpose. For example, we have Alexa, right? We tell the particular machine to maybe, wake me up at 6 a.m., etc., so on and so forth, basically, right? So it has a purpose. Both animate and inanimate, right? Animals and humans, or the ones which are machines, and the way they regulate themselves. Particularly interested in the flow of information through a system. So if I am asking Alexa to play music, to do something, right? And if it is responding, right? The flow of information which is happening and the feedback that we both are sharing with one another, and how the machine starts playing the music that I asked it to, right? That is what we know as cybernetics. Three essential conceptual components are there. A way to represent its current state. Then we have the goal state and how to reach to the goal state from the current state. Let's just see it with the example of a GPS. Now, if you write that in the Google Maps only, if in the Google Maps you write that I want to reach to Drishti IAS, Karol Bagh, right? That will be the to field and from where, and this is not the email that I'm talking about. This is the Google Maps service that I'm talking about. And from where? Old Rajendra Nagar. So here, this very thing will be what? This will be the goal state, that this is where I want to reach from my current state, that is here. And how to reach to that goal state from my current is what the Google Maps will be telling me. How much time will it take if I take a walk, if I take a bike, if I go on a scooty, etc., if I go through a car, right? So the Google Maps are the ones. So this is a machine, right? And it is interacting with me. The feedbacks are being shared. The flow of information is being there, right? From the goal to the, from the current to the goal, right? So here, if it calculates the time of 10 minutes, let's just see, 10 minutes by walk. And it will also, as I'm telling you, from the current, how to reach the goal, they give a certain direction that there is, this is how you are supposed to proceed. This is how you are supposed to take turns and then you will reach to your destination, right? So a GPS is a very good example when it comes to the cybernetics. Then we have next question. Statement 1, internet itself is a network and a model for cyberspace relations. Cyberspace as in the space in itself, the internet space, right? Statement 2, global interactive technologies aided by the internet heralded the arrival of second media age by the end of the 20th century. The answer to this question is option A, of course, which is both the statements are true. Now let's just see if we talk about internet. Internet itself is a network and also a model for cyberspace relations. Yes, because people develop relations, people talk to other people, right? Through the usage of internet, and we connect worldwide. Statement 2, global interactive technologies. For example, if we talk about Zoom, if we talk about Google Meet, heralded the arrival of second media age by the end of the 20th century. Now, first of all, let's just see what was the first media age, because you all might be having this question that what is the second media age? First media age was something where you were supposed to talk. One to many communication was happening. So one person addressing many. Could be the example, radio. Radio could be the example of the first media age, right? Or there are certain, platforms where only one person was talking to many people, right? If we talk about the second media age, two-way communication. So it could be one-to-one. For example, we have our WhatsApp video calls or calls, right? Used, which are being, through the usage of internet, or one to many, which could be what? As I told you, as I gave you the example of Zoom meeting. So a person, the manager is there and talking to his, the persons who are, the people. So basically, if we talk about the teachers taking classes through the Zoom meeting with her students, that is what? That is the arrival of second media age, or one-to-one can also be there, right? But here, the one person who was talking to many, there was no two-way communication. Here, two-way communication is there. So even if I'm talking to my friend over an internet call through WhatsApp, she'll be answering me, right? And so on and so forth. And even if I'm talking to my students through a Zoom meeting, taking a doubt session on the Drishti learning application, these people will be also asking me questions. So the communication will be two-way, right? That happened in the second media age in the 20th and 21st century. Which of the following statements about email security best describes email encryption? The answer to this question is option B, that this disguises the content of email messages in order to protect sensitive information. Now, if even in the WhatsApp, we see the encryption which is there, right? So the third party, whosoever is handling the WhatsApp, is not able to read the messages that I am sending to my friend, right? So email encryption works the same way, that because the message is encrypted, even if someone wants to read that very message by hacking it or somewhere or the other, right, they will not be able to read that message because the message or the email was encrypted, right? Encrypting or disguising the content of email messages in order to protect potentially sensitive information, because a sensitive, piece of information can be sensitive from an organizational point of view as well, right? From being read by anyone other than the intended recipients. The people whom I am sending the mail to, those are the only ones who will be reading that email, not the other ones, because the email was encrypted. It was protected, right? It was disguised, right, for the protection. Next is again a statement-based question. A music clip stored in the MP3 format would take up more memory than the same clip stored in the WAV or WAV format. Statement 2. Music files stored in the MP3 format are of better quality than the files stored in the WAV or WAV format. The answer to this question is option B, which says that statement 1 and statement 2 are false because of the fact that these formats are interchanged. Now let's just see how. Comparison parameter. What is MP3 format? Convenient and widely used coding format for digital audio using lossy compression for smaller file sizes. So basically you got the definition here only in this very pointer, that the file size is smaller in MP3 format, so it won't take larger space as it was asked in the question, right? And of course there is lossy compression and it is widely used. On the other hand, the WAV format is waveform audio file format, high quality. If something is of high quality, of course it will take larger space, right? And it is uncompressed. Developer, Fraunhofer Society. The WAV developer is IBM and Microsoft. Some kind of factual information which might or might not be asked in the UGC NET examination. File size here in MP3, we all share certain MP3s, music with our friends on social media, right, using WhatsApp, etc., right? So that if the smaller the size of that very MP3 file is smaller, it can be shared using WhatsApp. But if it is a larger file, it won't be able to share, right? We'll have to compress it. And if we'll compress it, right, the data will be, somewhere or the other, the quality will hamper. Now, if we talk about the compression, in MP3, it is lossy and in WAV, it is lossless. Now, here lossy means that when we are compressing the file, right, some things are deleted which are redundant, some information which is not required, right, that is deleted in the MP3 format, right, just to maintain that very music, but the quality becomes a little low, that is, it is lossy. That while you are compressing that very particular audio, some things will be deleted, some data will be deleted. If we talk about the WAV format, it is lossless because of the fact that it is high quality and uncompressed, which means that no data will be deleted. Correct? Next is, which of the following statements are accurate? You can answer the question. The answer to this question is option C, that is B and C, option B and C only. That Web 2.0 bring people closer together with information using machines And Web 3.0 brings machine closer together using information. We'll see these things through the usage of an example. First of all, let me just tell you what is Web 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. It is something, nothing but the evolution. The evolution of internet from the beginning, right? So Web 1.0 was something which was just related to static web pages, that there was information which was provided, right? For example, the platform like MySpace, LiveSpace, right? So the things which were there were static and redundant. If we talk about how after that the web pages, they all developed, Web 2.0 came into the picture. User generated content, usability and interoperability, right? Which means that something which can be shared. The participative web, why is it known as the participative web? Web 1.0, you can just write it down as well, was just read, right? When Web 2.0 came, it became read and write, that people were participating. They were also presenting their opinions on the web pages by maybe commenting, right? Something or the other. It is also called a participative social web, hence the people can write. It does not refer to a modification to any technical specification. So basically the web pages were changed that people were trying to respond to, right? Came with a fundamental shift where people became able to share their perspectives and experiences via several online platforms and tools. For example, we have YouTube, right? So Web 2.0 came with this very thing, this very platform or application named as YouTube. And on YouTube, of course, we pass on certain, we can write comments, that if I like a particular video, if I like the particular song, I will write a comment there, right? Or even if I like that very video, right? So that very thing is, I as a person, as a user, is participating in the content, right? Wikipedia, right? The people can change or modify the content which is there. So people are participating there as well. Whereas Web 3.0 is something which is read, write and execute, right? So people, after participating, the people were also now trying to communicate with the machines which are there. Also known as the semantic web, with the beginning of dynamic apps, machine to machine interaction. For example, the AC remote. If I press something on the AC remote, the machine to machine interaction on the AC is being done, right? Of course, the another example could be a human interacting with a machine by just uttering certain words. For example, I gave you the example of Alexa, Siri, right? We have Google Assistant as well, right? So I'm asking questions to a machine and it is responding me back. Also describes various web page evolutions and communication between many parts. Data is not owned but shared instead, right? With services exhibiting distinct views for the same data web. For example, I gave you the example of Siri and Alexa, and of course, Google Assistant. And I am asking the Google Assistant to wake me up at 7 p.m. or something like that, right? So this is something where I am also executing certain things. The machines are also interacting with each other, right? Next is output devices and the description. Simple question. If you read the description in a detailed manner, you will be able to answer it. The answer to this question, these are the options. You can pause your screens and see what it will be the answer. The answer to this question is option D, which is A 3, B was 1, right? C is 2 and D is 4. So inkjet printer are the droplets of ink which are propelled onto paper, right? LCD screen, flat panel display that uses the light modulating properties of liquid crystals. Or even if you would have read the LED's full form while you were preparing for your examination, or if you still are preparing for your examination, you all will be knowing that LED stands for light emitting diodes, right? So you could have easily answered this very thing through this very, guess. Laser printer, electrically charged powered ink is transferred onto paper, right? So I hope you all were able to answer this question as well. There is no description needed because the description was already in the question. The next question that I have for you is, what is the full form of SPARK? This is a scheme which was launched, right? So the answer to this question is option B. Scheme for promotion of academic and research collaboration, right? So basically, it is something which has been launched just to innovate certain things and collaborate with people who are abroad. The, organizations, the experts who are from, from the foreign countries, right? Developed by the Ministry of Education, which was previously known as MHRD, aims at improving the research ecosystem. Because in today's time, if we talk about even the NET examination, you are reading a particular unit on research aptitude because you all somewhere or the other would want to be PhD scholars, you want to do PhD, right? So your research is such a field which should be explained, which should be known to people, right? So for that, multiple resources and improvisations should be done at the government's end as well when we talk about the education system of India, right? So they have developed this very scheme for the research ecosystem by facilitating academic and research collaborations between top-ranked Indian institutes and globally ranked foreign institutions, that how they can come, collaborate together, do research, invent a product, discover something new, right? So from that very thing, the research will be, shifted or moved to some different perspective. Next question is, according to NEP, that is National Education Policy 2020, India will be promoted as a global study destination, providing premium education at affordable cost, thereby helping to restore its role as what? The answer to this question is option C, that is restore its role as Vishwaguru. Vishwaguru means the teacher of the world, right? So through the national education policy, they are trying to bring their, legacy, which was there in the previous times when we talk about the ancient universities of Nalanda and Takshila and how people from all over the world, right, they were coming there for the study purposes, right? So there were some Chinese philosophers as well who were coming to, study at those very institutions. At that point of time in the ancient India, India was known as the Vishwaguru because it was teaching multiple people, multiple students from different parts of the world, right? And through the national education policy, the Minister of State for Education and External Affairs, Sir R.K. Ranjan Singh, he has said that we want to restore India again with that very legacy of becoming the Vishwaguru again, right? Next is the full form of NCIVE. The answer to this question is option B, that is National Committee for the Integration of Vocational Education. Now, if we talk about the higher education field, right, we all would have seen that how much of importance is this very topic, vocational education. Now, vocational education is something which is related to the career aspect of students, that what are they going to become in future, the education that the people require for their vocational careers, for their jobs, etc. Right? So, National Committee for the Integration of Vocational Education, as the name suggests, is for the purpose of providing people with vocational education, right? And individual institutions that are early adopters of this very scheme, they will be the ones who will be, having some, things which are tested to innovate, to find models at how a person, if he or she wants to be a chef in the coming future, right, what are the things which should be provided by our end, and what are the courses which can be introduced in the curriculum to make the person a proper chef, right? Through mechanisms set up by NCIVE, so as to help extend the reach of vocational education, that no one is unemployed in India, right? Then we have the government of India created the Department of Science and Technology in the year. So this was a question which was asked, which was related to the establishment of a particular institute, right? So the answer to this question is option D, that is 1971. Now, in May 1971, this department was established, and as the name suggests, science and technology, it will deal with anything and everything related to these two things, that how technology is being advanced and how science is also helping the technology to be there, right? So we have different types of sciences as well. All of them come under this very department, playing the role of a nodal department for organizing, coordinating and promoting science and tech activities in the country. That if a student wants to become or wants to get engaged in robotics, for example, what could be provided, what things can be organized, how can that be coordinated among different institutions, right? So that is the job of this very institution or this very department of science and technology, which was established in the year 1971. Next question we have is, the ancient system of education in India included education of which of the following ancient texts? The answer to this question is option D, which is A, B, C and D, which is all of these things were included in the ancient education of India. Vedas, Upanishads, Brahmanas, these are the sacred texts, right, which were there, and these are not the Brahmins who were the ones giving the education. This is not the Brahmins but the Brahmanas, which were the religious texts, right? And Dharma Sutras, which were related to religion, how the duty of dharma, the dharma can be established, and how it could be exercised in the times of ancient India, right? So these were certain questions which were related to shift 1 of paper 1 of English literature, right? If you have any certain doubts, you can comment down below and I will reply for sure. Till then, keep on staying with us, keep on staying in touch with us. I will be seeing you again in some other video. Thank you so much. Have a good day.